This is my mom's old Bianchi road bike that I've been riding for about 5 years. And I've got to be honest, I haven't even done so much as wash it in the time that I have owned it. Needless to say, it's had a bit of a rough life, but today we are going to be giving it the love and attention that it deserves. Hey team, welcome back to another Levi's Save the World Hildebrand episode, the channel where we prove that you don't need to be a hero to save the planet. Today, we are going to be taking my mom's old Bianchi road bike and we're going to be giving it a bit of love that I have neglected to give it for so long. Today's video is made possible by Interac and their amazing campaign called The Power of Local. Interac basically reached out to me with the dream sponsorship opportunity. They said, can you think of a local business that you would like to support and showcase on your channel? And of course, I thought of a whole bunch of places that I would love to go and check out. But today we are going to be visiting Hub City Cycles, which is a bike shop that specializes in refurbishing old bikes and recycling bike parts to make new bikes. That was a very convoluted way of saying that, but you'll see what I mean later on in the video. Now, if you've been around on this channel for a while, you might have actually seen a video very similar to this one where I took my mom's old road bike and made it rideable for me. And the comments on that video are some of the most polarizing that I think I've ever received on a video on this channel ever. And the general gist was, I ruined the bike. Because this is a classic road bike, and by removing the drop-down bars and moving the shifters, I was essentially desecrating a masterpiece. So if you didn't like that video, you're really not gonna like this one. But let's go and check out the bike in question. So this is my mom's 1991 Bianchi road bike, purchased 1 year before I was born. Now, as I'm about to show you, this bike is not very well loved. I was given it for free. I rode it as a commuter bicycle. It was nothing more than a way to get from A to B, and I really wanted to finally put some love back into this bike and make it something that I was excited to ride. Let me show you what I mean. See, it's not that I don't love riding my bike. In fact, it's one of my favorite ways of getting around the city, but I'm not that emotionally connected to stuff. This is the original tire that came on this bike 29 years ago. It has the same original brake pads, and they honestly barely work. This lock is so flimsy I could probably cut it off with a butter knife and a bit of enthusiasm. Last year, my derailleur got blown on this thing, and I honestly took it to the bike shop and said, give me whatever is the cheapest. At one point, I actually had a bottle holder zap strapped onto the frame of the bike. Did I mention that I'm just really bad at maintenance as well? Now, look, I'm not trying to flex on you, but I could definitely afford a brand new bike. But I've specifically decided not to do that. I'm going to breathe new life into this bike and make it something that I truly enjoy and love and want to ride more often. And so just a couple days ago, I took this bike over to Hub City Cycles to get an idea of what they think I should do with my mom's old bike. And things kind of got out of hand from there.
Hey there. I called in earlier.
Levi.
Yeah.
Nice work over Ciclistas. You have a video of me.
Dude, I'm coming here to make another video
No.
about the same bike. Dude, are you serious?
By some wild turn of events, the guy who worked at the shop was the same guy who helped me with my bike in the last video. So after some catching up and some assessment of the bike and talking about what I wanted versus what was possible, we formulated a plan. And then John had an idea.
I don't know if you're into this, but we have these gold wheels for sale.
What are those?
Now, I've got to be honest, I did not think that I would be getting giant gold single-speed rims for my bike when I walked into the shop that day. But how could I not? The fact that they exist is already crazy, let alone that they're used and they fit my bike perfectly. I got caught up in the moment. John and I were vibing on the discovery of these rims and things just snowballed. We sorted everything out and organized a date to put the bike together. I then paid for my membership using Interac Flash, and then we were ready to go. So this campaign is all about the power of local, and I chose to bring my bike to Hub City Cycles for a reason. First of all, they are a co-op, which means that there isn't any formal ownership, which means they can take a lot of liberties and do some pretty cool stuff that other bike shops wouldn't be able to do. They also specialize in recycling bikes. Almost all of the parts that we replaced on my bike are from older bikes, and that also means that they're keeping a bunch of stuff out of the landfill. On top of this, they do have discounts for people who are in need, and they have an incredibly reliable staff here that knows a ton about making the most out of your bike.
Today's the day. Bike renovation day.
All right, and we're starting on the wheels. So because John is awesome, he opened up the shop on a Monday when they're normally closed to make this whole build happen. In no time, we had the old tires off and the new gold rims mounted onto the bike, and it was at this point that I got to see the bike for the first time fully together with an idea of what it would look like, and I had a bit of a realization. Oh my god. Okay, slight change of plans. We're not gonna do the gold rims. See, Leah and I actually ride our bikes a lot for commuting, and that's not always on perfectly flat ground, so these amazing gold rims with their single speed didn't actually make a lot of sense, so we devised a new plan for the bike.
Do you think less of me? Do you think less of me now because I did this? Or I didn't do this?
I'm a functional cyclist. I mean, I would think like, wow, this is totally awesome that you're totally making your bike unfunctional to ride in
Just
in
to look
IMO.
cool.
But I totally respect you for doing that. Like, if it didn't look good and was dumb,
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But if you're like making it look sweet, I see the objective here.
RIP to the gold rims, we are now going to be making something a little different. So the general idea is to create a functional commuter bike that is less flashy and more classy. And fortunately, John found these amazing white wall tires that fit perfectly onto my rims. Look at my hands. These are YouTuber hands getting dirty for the first time all year. Once we had decided on the overall look, it was time to make this bike as smooth a ride as possible. Oh my god, dude. Oh wow, that was so easy. Because the angle of the back forks on my bike is so steep, this back rack was basically useless, so finally I decided that it was time to take it off. So believe it or not, having good brakes on your bike is kind of important, especially when the ones that you've been rolling on are older than you are. These are really high quality brakes, and they were still really affordable. John and I got them tuned up on the bike, and then we were moving on to the crank. One of the things that I didn't like about this bike is that the gearing was really high. It was almost impossible to go up really steep hills just because of the way that the gears were set up. So John and I figured out a workaround solution. We found a smaller chainring that we could use on the front sprocket of the bike. Here you can see the one on the left is new, and the one on the right is the one we had before. This is a uniquely awesome thing about Hub City Cycles because we were able to find this part secondhand around the shop. We then replaced my cheapo plastic derailleur that I bought for next to nothing with a classic derailleur that looks way better on the bike. Once we had the chain installed and all the final tune-ups completed, the bike was basically ready to roll. So the bike is done, it looks really great, but first we are going to do something pretty special that I don't often get to do on this channel. So through a friend of ours, we found somebody who is in need of a bike, and so today we're gonna hook them up with a bicycle. And I think they're gonna be here any second now.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Wendy, hello. So Preston is a student at a local alternative learning center in Nanaimo, and he had recently had his bike stolen. That day, we gave him the opportunity to pick out any bike that he wanted from the shop, and he got the wonderful guidance from John to make sure that he got what he needed. Eventually, he decided on a giant mountain bike, which had recently been totally refurbished by the Hub City Cycles team. Preston was a little shy throughout the process, but he was a good sport, and he even gave me one of the most awkward COVID high fives ever.
High five, like air high five at the distance.
I did.
He's like, I hate this.
And so we got to give Preston a bike, which felt really good. And then it was time to say goodbye to John, although probably not forever because he keeps popping up in videos no matter where I go. And then it was time to give my bike its inaugural cleaning. So even though we didn't go with the majestic golden rims, I still think that this is a pretty awesome looking bike. But the best part is it's still a very functional ride as well. See, all the repairs and changes that we made to this bike are things that you probably should do if you hope to revitalize any old bike that you hope to ride. See, bikes are incredibly simple machines, and so it doesn't take a lot of love and attention to make them feel new again. Replacing a rusty chain, swapping out a rock-hard saddle, and making sure you're rolling on new rubber are all things that you can do to not only have a safer bike to ride, but a more fun riding experience as well. Now, even though I am not a person who feels deep connections to physical things, I love this bike. I think it's really special for me now, and that has a bit to do with the fact that it's my mom's, and it has also to do with the fact that I've spent all this time and energy physically getting down and dirty fixing it up to make it work for me. I've also come up with a nickname for her, let me know what you think, of Jeannie. Anyways, I'm sure you're pretty interested to know how the cost breakdown of this all worked out, so let's get into that. So we are going to get into the cost breakdown of this bike. I paid for the membership at Hub City Cycles, which was $5, using Interac Flash. It's a super easy, contactless way of paying for things, which is super important, especially during COVID. The following two payments I did using Interac e-transfers, which I have set up through my online banking. I paid for Preston's bike and lock separately, and then did a separate bill for my bike specifically so that I could get a cost breakdown of how everything worked out. So in total, everything that you saw on that bike and in this video cost me $228.22. Bear in mind that also includes John's time that he put in outside of work hours to do this project with me, and a few other things that I'm going to list here as well. I got a multi-tool for my back pouch just in case I need to replace a tire while I'm on the road. I got another bike pouch for Leah because hers was stolen off of her bike, and two very expensive locks for Leah and I because, as we've experienced, locks are pretty important. I also could have probably spent a lot less on this bike build. I've been treating this bike like garbage since I got it, and I finally felt like it was time for me to put some money and love back into it, so bear that in mind. And this is where I have to thank Interac again for making this video possible. I don't often get the opportunity to revamp an old bike like this and then give a bike to someone in need. Those are really unique things that I have the incredible opportunity to do, and it's thanks to sponsors like them that I get to share that with all of you. See, through this video, I realized that a bike for me is first and foremost a form of transportation. Yes, I would love to have a cool bike, and that was a big motivation for me in doing this video, but I also realized that it doesn't matter how cool it looks if it doesn't help you get where you're wanting to go. Biking for me is something that I genuinely enjoy doing, and I enjoy it more when the bike that I have works as well as it can. The feeling of riding this bike in the little times that I have has been really amazing. Riding around on a bike that works perfectly and that's tuned well is honestly unlike anything else. But all of that aside, I want to know what you think. Did you like the gold rims? Do you think that I missed an opportunity there? Or do you, like John and I, believe in function first over fashion? But whatever you thought, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend some time with me, because I really appreciate that. And of course, if you are subscribed to this channel, which you very much should be, then we will see you in the next one.